It is time to bake some cookies. I have not done a ton of baking in this house yet, so I am super excited. I've got my KitchenAid out, so let's go ahead and start baking. Here's everything I need for the first cookie. We're actually going to be making some maple sandwich cookies, and there's no pumpkin in this. However, because they're sandwich cookies, the filling is going to be a pumpkin buttercream. So that's where the pumpkin is going to come in with this cookie. So this is all we're working with first. I have an egg, some butter, salt, vanilla, granulated sugar, baking soda and baking powder, some maple syrup, flour, and brown sugar. I have a medium-sized bowl here, and I'm adding in 1 3/4 cup of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon salt. I'm gonna whisk these together. Okay, I set my dry ingredients off to the side. I'm at my mixer. I've got my paddle attachment on, and I'm adding in 5 tablespoons of butter. I have had this sitting on the counter for a little bit, so it's nice and soft for me. Just makes it super easy to mix together. A 1/3 cup of granulated sugar, and a 1/4 cup of packed light brown sugar. I'm going to stir this up for several minutes. Okay, I'm going to add 1 egg. I'm gonna beat that in. Once that's all nice and creamy, I'm adding in a 1/4 cup of the maple syrup and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And we're gonna mix those in. Okay, now for the dry ingredients. I'm gonna mix it in half at a time instead of just dumping the whole thing in there. So just do a little bit, set that to the side, mix this in. Start slow so it doesn't splatter everywhere. Then I'm gonna add the rest in. I'm gonna use my little rubber spatula to kind of push it down, clean off the sides of the bowl. Get all the ingredients incorporated and finish mixing this up. Okay, dough is ready. I'm gonna get all the extra off of my paddle mixer here. I don't want any to go to waste. And again, just using my rubber spatula to clean off the sides, make sure everything has been nice and mixed thoroughly. So I've covered my bowl with some saran wrap, and I'm gonna put it in the fridge for 1 hour. Okay, it has been an hour. I just pulled the dough out of the fridge. I have my oven preheating to 350 degrees. I've got my baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and then in this little low bowl here, I have some granulated sugar because I'm gonna roll the cookies in there. So I've got this itty bitty cookie scoop because we're not making like massive cookies. So I'm gonna use the cookie scoop to get out the amount that I want. And I'm just gonna roll it in the sugar and put it on my cookie sheet. So I'm gonna do that to all the dough. All right, first tray, I did get 2 trays out of it. So I'm gonna get my first tray in my oven. It has preheated to 350 degrees, and I'm gonna bake them for 10 minutes. Cookies are done. I'm going to let them cool, but in the meantime, we're gonna start on the pumpkin buttercream. For the buttercream, I have a 1/2 cup or 1 stick of butter melted. I'm going to add a little pinch of salt, and I added in 2 cups of powdered sugar, so I'm mixing that together on low. Adding 2 tablespoons of pumpkin puree, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, and we're gonna start with just 1 tablespoon of heavy cream. I may add 1 more depending on the consistency. All right, now to mix everything together. Cookies are nice and cool. It's a little dark. It's getting kind of late. My buttercream frosting is done, so I'm just gonna put a little dollop. I'm just using a butter knife in the middle. I'm gonna put a little bit more on this one. And then take another cookie and put them together. And there's my maple sandwich cookie with my pumpkin buttercream. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the rest of them. I probably could put a little bit more buttercream. I just don't want to run out because I don't have any more pumpkin. All right, I put a ton on this one. That looks good. Maple cookies with the pumpkin buttercream frosting are done. I turned them into little sandwiches. This is definitely a hefty cookie because of the two of them. You could just do one cookie with a little bit of the frosting on top. I've done it that way before. I just wanted to mix it up and make little sandwich cookies. I thought that would be fun. So here's cookie number 1. For cookie number 2, we're gonna be making some gooey pumpkin butter cookies. These are the ingredients that I'm gonna be using. I've got some granulated sugar, powdered sugar, flour, cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice, little salt, baking powder, vanilla extract, pumpkin, 2 eggs, some cream cheese, and butter. In my mixer, I added the 8 ounce of cream cheese. I have let it sit out for a little bit to soften. 1 cup of butter, which is 2 sticks, also been sitting out for a little bit so it's nice and soft. 1 cup of pumpkin puree, 2 cups of granulated sugar, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're gonna mix all of these together. Once you've got all that mixed, it's still a little chunky. I'm gonna go higher up in just a second. But I'm adding in my 2 eggs, and I'm gonna mix it and go a little faster. In a separate bowl, I'm gonna mix the dry ingredients. So I have 4.5 cups of the flour. I thought I would be smart and reuse the same bowl. I'm just gonna have to stir it very carefully because 4.5 cups of flour is actually quite a lot in this medium bowl. But I've got that in there, and now I'm gonna add in 3 tablespoons of baking powder as well as 1 teaspoon. So 3 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon of the baking powder. 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm doing like a heaping tablespoon of cinnamon. I love cinnamon. I mean, I love all these spices. The nutmeg, the allspice, all of these are gonna be heaping teaspoons. But if you don't like yours as, you know, spicy, then maybe just about a teaspoon. But again, mine are all gonna be heaping. So there's the nutmeg, and last but not least, the allspice. And since my bowl is a little on the small side here, I'm going to carefully whisk these together. Just get those spices kind of incorporated into the flour. All right, and then I'm just going to do a little bit at a time because this is gonna make a very full bowl. So I'm just gonna pour a little in there, mix it up slowly, and just keep doing that until all of my dry ingredients are into my wet and the dough is nice and mixed. This dough is done. I'm going to cover the top with some cling wrap, and this one's actually gonna go into the freezer, not the refrigerator. So I'm gonna stick this one in the freezer for an hour. You could also do these like the day before. This one's gonna go in the freezer for at least like a minimum of an hour, but like I said, you could do these the night before, day before, in the morning, bake them in the afternoon, whatever. The time really doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one in the freezer. The pumpkin cookies have been in the freezer for a little over an hour now, so we're gonna get those ready to get in the oven. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. I have got a little bowl of powdered sugar here. So just like the first cookie, I'm going to use my little cookie scoop and get it out, roll it into the powdered sugar, and then I have a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper just to help with the stickiness so it doesn't stick to my cookie sheet. So we're gonna go ahead and just scoop a little bit out. You could roll it into a nice uniform ball if you want to. I don't do that. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I'm just gonna coat the cookie in the powdered sugar and then get it on my baking sheet. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees and I'm going to bake these for 11 minutes. All right, I have to actually pause finishing this tray because it's dinner time, but I'm only doing 30 cookies right now and I still have at least half of the batter left. So just letting you know, these do make a lot. This would be great for like taking to work or if you're having a party, something like that, making all these cookies. They are fairly small, so I can see people eating maybe 2 at a time. But really big on the pumpkin flavor. So just wanted to let you guys know they do make a lot. So I'm saving the other half of the dough. I'm only making 30 for this time.